Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. I am your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and today we're going to be talking about AMD Raptr recorder, or the also known as AMD Gaming Evolved panel. And Raptr is one of a couple of programs. The other one is NVIDIA Shadowplay, and these two programs are designed to let you record the video footage directly off your graphics card as you play games, and also giving you different tools to create and manipulate those videos right here in the interface. And it also lets you broadcast to Twitch. Unfortunately, it doesn't let you broadcast anything else yet, but hey, you gotta start somewhere. And this tutorial is actually an updated tutorial based upon my previous tutorial on the Larry Chupacabra channel, because they've changed up a few things that can be a little bit confusing to people. So here is the home panel where you start out your magnificent adventures, and everything is kind of tied into the Plays.tv service, which is kind of like a competitor to YouTube, but they mostly focus on brief little highlight clips of about 10 to 30 seconds long. I'm sure they let you put on longer videos up on the platform, but for the most part, when you go view the website for Plays.tv, the only thing you'll see is those things. But if you see a Plays.tv logo, don't pay it any mind. That's the tool that we're going to be using to record all of our stuff. And so we got a couple of features here that you can turn on and off. And previously, there was a third button that would allow you to turn on and off games recording. Just so everyone's aware, you will always be able to record so long as AMD Gaming Evolved is on. If you want to do manual recordings, where you just hit your hotkey and start recording from that point onward. Otherwise, you've got two things going on here. You've got highlight clips, and highlight clips, basically, AMD Gaming Evolved / Raptr is keeping like a recording buffer in the background of, like, say, like the last 10 to 30 to like up to 20 minutes of gameplay, and you can hit a hotkey and it'll automatically save that last 20 minutes of footage and action or whatever amount of time you've got that set to. This feature, it's really nice for making a montage clip or like a show reel of all your cool headshots from like CSGO, or maybe you had a sweet play in StarCraft or League of Legends. So you can quickly cobble those together to make like a show reel or a highlight reel, whatever you want, and then throw that up onto YouTube. And then the other one, sort of like the Kitty Frolics Hold Your Hand version of recording, which is game replays. And that's like manual replays, or manual recordings, I should say, but game replays start recording the second you load into a game. It just starts recording in the background. You don't have to press a button or anything. And then you have to do a lot of cleanup on the back end for your videos. And these two features you can turn on and off. You have to turn them on in this little panel before they'll function in-game. So with that explanation out of the way, we're going to hit the little gear down here to talk about settings. All of those recommended settings, so that you can just go off and make your beautiful videos on the internets. That's what the young people are into, they tell me. So here we are. There's a lot of stuff going on here. We'll actually skip this top piece up here and go straight to the settings. So highlight length, that's what these highlights were we were talking about back here, the highlight clips. This determines how much of this is kept in the background, recording constantly, and, you know, basically how much of a time segment you want when you got that cool headshot, and you want to make sure you got the entirety of the setup for that headshot. So my recommendation for this is about anywhere between like 15 to 30 seconds, and this goes all the way up to 20 minutes, so you can kind of mess around with how you want to set that up. But anything beyond 30 seconds for a quick little highlight clip, probably going to mean a lot of extra editing for you in the background. Really, the whole idea of this is you just grab all the little clips together, throw them in a video editor, line them up however you like, export them, you're done. You don't want to have to trim each individual little 30-second clip, because that's like, what is that, like, 3-5 minutes of clips? That's a bunch of them. You don't want to do that. And then we've got total replay space. So again, there's two main ways to record in this. You can either just record manually using a hotkey. You can do that so long as Raptr's turned on. Or you can enable game replays, which will automatically record in the background. To make sure that you don't sort of like excessively record and fill your hard drive up, they make you set a limit to how much space can be taken up on your computer. And you set that in terms of gigabytes. For the sake of argument, I just set mine to 200 gigs of replay space, which gives me roughly 17 hours and 46 minutes worth of time that can just sit on this hard drive. I mean, that's really all there is to it. You just say how much space, and you just don't want to make sure, or you want to make sure, that you don't just let this fill your hard drive up, because if it's constantly recording everything you do, I mean, if you're a hardcore video gamer like Larry, I mean, you're going to fill that shit up in like a week at best. So you want to make sure that you only set as much as you feel you need. Once you're done recording a video, grab it up off your hard drive, edit it, throw it online, and then delete it, so that you don't have to worry about it. It's out of your hair. Beyond that, we've got microphone volume. In your game sounds down here at the bottom, you can actually disable either of those by unclicking them. My recommendation for when you're messing around with like audio balances in recorders that don't let you separate out your microphone audio so that you can edit it later, I always make sure to reduce game sounds by 50 to 40%. So you only want them at like 40% of the volume of your gameplay sounds. That way we can hear your beautiful, awesome voice on the internet and all the weird poop jokes you're making without having to try and strain to hear it over the gun fighting sounds, the laser sounds, the goblins exploding, all that sort of stuff. You want to make sure your game sounds are turned nice and down so that we can actually hear you say words. And then, of course, you can adjust your microphone volume so it's not really ridiculously loud and staticky or anything. And if you're curious, if you have multiple microphones plugged into your computer, if you have a headset and like a built-in microphone that came with like a laptop or something, you can tell what device is being used because it's whatever your default recording device is. If you don't know how to do that, we'll cover that in another tutorial. That can be convoluted and confusing. We're just focused on Raptr today. And of course, to test the volume of your microphone, you can just hold this, you can just click this button. It'll record like a little mini clip and then play it back for you immediately so you can hear how you sound. After that, you want to scroll back up to the top. Just so I can talk about it in case you're confused or worried about it. Up here at the top is your plays.tv login. You don't actually need this in order to use the Raptr service, or you didn't when I started using it. If any of this stuff is grayed out and asking you to log in, go ahead and do it. It's a free service. It's like YouTube, but for little clips. It's free. Who cares? You can just set that up there, log in, and it'll keep your credentials. Nothing really to worry about there. It only posts stuff if you want it to, so it doesn't hork your bandwidth. So the next thing we want to talk about is Larry's recommended quality settings. Honestly, I don't really recommend using the default quality settings. They aren't very good. Previously, before I messed with these, they would like bump you up to like 50 megabits per second for your bitrate. That's too much. It's too much. You're not going to do anything with that. So, what is max bitrate, max frame rate, resolution? What is all of this stuff, Mr. Chupacabra? Well, the maximum bitrate, think of it like a big superhighway of data that is expressly designed for a video to drive on. A bitrate, the bigger the bitrate, the larger the highway that your video has for data to move along. And higher the number, the better the quality that can move across it. However, if you have too big a highway, you've got way too much space available, and there's only like 1 or 2 little digital cars on it. So, basically, around 25 megabits per second to 35 megabits per second is the highest bitrate quality that you're really going to see playing video games. Beyond that, it's just a lot of wasted space on your hard drive. The videos just get much bigger than they need to be. It's a waste of space. So my recommended number for the max bitrate is around 25 megabits per second. If you see any fuzziness, blurriness, reduction in quality, any of that stuff, turn it up to 35 megabits per second, but no higher than that. That's just a waste of space. Max frame rate. If your games are not running very well, if they're kind of slow, if they have a lower frame rate, you're going to want to use 30 frames per second. I know. 60 frames per second are beautiful. We love them. They're on the internet. They're better than 30. PC Master Race. I understand all of that, but if you record at 60 frames per second and your game isn't playing at 60 frames per second, your video is going to be stuttery. It's not going to be very smooth. In certain cases, it will cause viewers to get motion sickness while they watch your videos. It's not good. Don't do it. If you're not actually playing at 60, don't record at 60. If you are, by all means, record at 60 frames per second. People enjoy it better. It's smoother. And if you're on YouTube, it counts better for your search rankings, so it helps people find your videos better. Isn't that fancy? And then, of course, if you're playing on a high-resolution monitor, pop it up to 1080p. It doesn't go any higher than that, unfortunately. It's not like other recorders where you can record the original file or frame size to go above 1080p. But, 1080p is standard HD definition on the internet. Even 720p is still pretty acceptable with most people, especially if it's at 60 FPS. So if you got the screen size and the power for it, hit that 1080p. And then, of course, last but not least is, what does it mean to optimize videos for upload and share down here at the bottom? So basically, this just changes one little piece of information on your video files to make it so that they upload and process on a web server somewhere a little bit faster. So attached to every MP4 video that has ever been made, most videos that have ever been made, is a little file that tells servers, video players, computers, what have you, how long a video is, what the frame rate is, what the resolution is, all this technical meta information that's important for the video to run, and most of the time it's kept at the very back of a video file. When you're uploading a video, it starts from the front and goes to the back. So optimizing this for upload takes that file, sneaks it into the front, so it's the first thing that the server sees, and it can then start processing that video for immediate playback once it's up on the server. Honestly, you can use this if you want, for the most part. Google, Twitch, Plays.tv, Vimeo, whatever service that you're using, they've got big honkin' servers that eat the souls of demons for breakfast. Like, don't even worry about it. But if you really feel like being like a super elitist or a bit of a video snob, you can click this. It doesn't actually affect your video quality. It's not going to hurt anything. So, you know what? You might as well use it. However, if you run this thing through a video editor, then it's not going to matter. You can just leave it unchecked. And that's all you really got to know for quality settings. Most of this will stay the same when we go into the Twitch settings. But the last thing here in the video recording settings is, under folders, you can change the location of where your video files are stored. Personally, I have a spare hard drive down here called Space, where I keep all my extra crap and video games and stuff. It's an extra 2 terabyte hard drive, because this thing only came with like a 500 gig hard drive installed in it. So if you need to, if you have a reason to, you can change the location of where your videos are kept, where your temporary videos are kept. However, I would leave your temporary game video directory as default if you've got the space on your default hard drive. Why is that? This is that buffer I was talking about that records in the background when you record highlight reels. So it's not going to be a very big file. Just leave it where it's at. Sometimes if you mess with that location, it can make Raptr freak out. It can crash. If you just updated your video cards, it can sometimes try to reset it and it won't record correctly. Just leave the temporary directory alone. But the big fat video directory that records your game replays and your video recordings, feel free to move that however you like. So the next thing, Twitch. We love it. We love to stream to people. Well, everyone but Larry, because Larry doesn't have the ability to stream because of his upload speed. But the nice thing about Raptr and also NVIDIA Shadowplay is that all you got to do to get this to work is up here at the top, you click login, it opens up your web browser, you manually log into Twitch through the web browser, and then it kind of handles all of the technical details, all of the credentials, information right here in the Raptr panel. So you can come down here and you can be like, my super awesome stream thingy. Look at that. Now they can see that that's the title of my stream. We can enable the live Twitch chat to feed right into my game so I can see it live as it happens. And if you want, you can also include the Raptr GUI, the Raptr overlay, so if you pause the game to fiddle with something, people can see what you're doing. I don't recommend doing that. That's kind of pointless. It kind of looks like crap. No one wants to see that. And if you have Twitch embedded into your game, then everyone on Twitch is going to see the chat twice. And that sounds really boring and kind of lame. I mean, they can already see it. You don't need to do it twice. So I would just leave that unchecked. It's completely unnecessary. And then, of course, the same things apply for your microphone and your game sounds. And again, I recommend putting your game sound somewhere between 40 and 50%. Just to make sure that people can hear you say the words, because I can't vouch for everyone's microphone. They're not always sexy big blue Yetis or something. And then, of course, quality again for Twitch. Bitrates for streaming are a bit different. The maximum bitrate is 3500. Why is that? Because this is a constant bitrate that's constantly streaming to Twitch's servers. And Twitch could not, never in a million years, handle like thousands of people streaming 25 megabits per second. This is 3.5 megabits per second, and that would still kind of kick the crap out of the servers if it was even just a bit more than that. So the maximum bitrate is 3500. If you've got a big upload speed, about like 5 megabits per second up or higher, then definitely put it at 3500. If you're seeing lag in your video games, if you're seeing stutter or other problems on your video upload, then feel free to knock it down to 2048. It's a little less quality, but people prefer smoothness over quality when it comes to streaming, so always remember that. And again, if you're able to play at 60 frames per second, feel free to stream at 60. However, if not, again, it's going to look stuttery and janky. So only stream 60 if you can play at that. And then, of course, the highest resolution that you can, because people don't want to see a tiny little window the size of a baked potato. That's just boring. And that's really all you got to worry about as far as like quality settings. The last thing we're going to talk about before I demo how the manual recording works is hotkeys. Hotkeys are really important because they let you, on the go, quickly save that highlight, save that recording, stop, start recording, start, stop your broadcast, pause the broadcast, take a screenshot, all that fun stuff on the go. So definitely set these up, make sure there's something you're comfortable with, make sure they don't conflict with like Steam or anything, and then write them down on a sticky note and stick them on your monitor. That way, you don't forget, and you don't look really embarrassed when you fuck it up or something. I don't know. So the one that we're going to pay attention to here is the record and replay buttons. So we're going to start and stop the manual recording because this is the only way that you can do standard recordings with Raptr anymore. So that's control plus, I think that's colon, semicolon, one of those. So we're going to hit OK, and I've already got Grav opened up in the background, ready for us to fart around in it. Okay, so here we are. Uh-oh, my character is starving. Starving Marvin? Why would you do that? Let's have a large ration. And then if you look up in the upper left-hand corner, you'll notice there's this little overlay that's got a little icon of a video camera, and then it says to start, hit that little hotkey that we just talked about. So come down here, hold control, and click colon. And so it sometimes takes a minute or two, so give it a second to start up, but once you see the little countdown timer start ticking up, and you see the little red dot, you're golden. Look, we can run around, we can walk with the animals, talk with the animals, stab and slash and jab with the animals. And now we're recording. And if I had my microphone turned on that computer, they could hear my saucy voice singing, and we could go on a magnificent adventure. And it's actually pretty smooth, despite the fact that I'm running 2 recorders right now instead of just 1. So then we hit that hotkey again, control colon, and then it should stop, and the overlay should stay there in case you want to do some more later. And if you've got your highlights or your game replays turned on, those will appear in the same corner with the appropriately colored icons. So we'll tab back out. We'll close our Steam because we don't need that right now. And we can see our videos by clicking share. My beautiful saucy videos, and here it is. The video we just made where I walk with the animals, talk with the animals, murder and stab and hunt the animals. And so you can see a little preview here. You can write some shit here. You can put all the other information here and share it on plays.tv. And you can even, I'm not going to go over this though, because I always recommend people use a full large-scale editor, even Windows Movie Maker, because it's better. But you can even do basic editing where you clip out a section here, put another one in here, and then you can make a quick little montage reel to throw up on plays.tv. So yeah, that's about all there is to it. You create videos, you then later edit them and whatever, and then you can go off and have merry adventures on the internet. And always remember, if you want to use any of these functions like highlights, game replays, or broadcasts, you got to click the button here to turn it on. And of course, default recordings, the manual recording option, that's always on by default so long as Raptr is turned on your computer. So I guess that's about it for this one, folks. I've been your delightful cryptid host who also educates you on stuff, Larry the Chupacabra. Thanks for joining me for this updated tutorial on how to work Raptr, the AMD Gaming Evolved recorder. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If you got any questions, if you need clarification on anything, I check my comments pretty regularly. They're streamed to my Chupacabra email whenever you guys comment and ask a question. So feel free to kick those out. Do me a favor, though. These tutorials really quickly get a lot of questions on them. So if you think it's a common issue, just quickly thumb through. Maybe I've answered it for someone else before you. It helps me out to do that. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps me. Maybe suggest something you'd like a tutorial on. We've got the Minecraft World Painter tutorial coming up on the horizon. That was requested by Lulu Lynn. And maybe check out my Larry Chupacabra channel where I play video games, I do first looks, reviews, let's plays, all that fun kooky stuff. Because that's the primary channel that I have adventures on. You know, it would help Larry out. You're kicking me a favor to jump over there and check it out. Maybe you like my goofy humor. Who knows? So until next time, have a good one, everybody. And toodaloo.